Today we have a confusing problem from the parable in the gospel. Why is the tax collector justified and the Pharisee is not? The Pharisee is doing a lot for his faith. He's praying frequently. He pays tithes on his income. He's fasting twice a week. He's doing more than he needs to. His religious practices are exemplary. The tax collector is probably doing some bad things. Back in that time, tax collectors collected money from the Jews so they could give it to the Roman authorities. And often they would ask for more than the tax required so that the tax collectors could skim off the top before they gave it to the Romans. So the tax collector is probably not a good guy. Why is he justified and the Pharisee is not? We might put ourselves in the place of the Pharisee. We might think, well, I'm trying to practice my faith. I go to church, I'm praying, I give money to the church, and I do good things. Why would I not be justified? Can I just say, have mercy on me, a sinner, like the tax collector did, and I'll be fine? If that's the case, why do I even have to do good things? The best way I can explain this is to use the baptismal candle as an analogy. When we're baptized, we're given a candle representing the life of God that has been given to us by our baptism. And the purpose of our lives is to live out that divine life, to live out a life of self-giving love in a way that's unique to us, so that we can be with God one day in heaven. So picture yourself holding that candle, and far away you see the big Easter fire that we light every year at the Easter Vigil. Think of that as representing heaven. We have to protect the candle of our baptism and keep the flame alive so that we can bring it to that Easter fire at the end of our lives and throw it in. We keep the flame alive by living out the life God has called us to with the grace that He gives us. But we're also capable of giving that life up. That's what mortal sin is. It's like snuffing out the candle because we do something we know is gravely evil, and it cuts ourselves off from God. And of course, we can always go back to confession, and Jesus is overjoyed to light that candle again so we can continue to live in holiness. So we are called to do good things, like the Pharisee, to keep that flame alive. We should spend time with the Lord in prayer every day. We should give to the poor and do other good things, fast once in a while, especially during Lent. Because that's the life of holiness that God has called us to. That's how He wants to give us fulfillment in this life and in the next. But here's where the Pharisee went wrong. We never fully know that candle is still lit in us. And based on what Jesus says, the Pharisee's candle was dead. Why? The Pharisee was doing all those good things, but he was doing them all for himself. We get a clue about that when the gospel says he went into the temple and prayed to himself. If we're prideful like the Pharisee, we won't know because pride blinds us. So we always have to rely on the mercy of God, like the tax collector did. Even though the tax collector was failing miserably at his call to holiness, he gave himself over to the mercy of God so that God could redeem him and bring him to holiness. We're called to keep alive the fire of divine life given to us in our baptism and bring it one day to the Easter fire of heaven. We do that by living a life of holiness as best we can, and we can have confidence that God always gives us everything we need to do that, especially in the Eucharist and in the sacraments. God can and will make us holy if we let Him. So here's my suggestion. At some point this week, take 15 minutes and ask the Holy Spirit to show you what He's been doing in your life in the last couple years. Both what He's done for you and the good things He's done through you. And you can thank Him for those things. And then ask what He wants to do in you in the future. That's my suggestion. Ask God what he's been doing in and through you in the past and what he wants to do in the future. If we cling to God, if we trust in his mercy and continue to receive the sacraments, we'll find ourselves saying, like St. Paul did in the second reading at the end of his life, I have competed well, I finished the race, I have kept the faith. From now on, the crown of righteousness awaits me, which the Lord will award to me.